So basically, the issue that I had with my knee when I was in that sophomore fall year, and it was really that whole summer prior to that where it just progressively got worse, were just twinges when I would explosively extend my leg. So the stride motion of a pitching motion that I had, it would do it every once in a while, progressively got worse throughout the summer. It made me really, really suck the whole summer as far as playing baseball, since that was unpredictable as far as that goes, as far as the pain goes, and it just progressively got worse and just made my summer horrible as far as my performance in baseball. With that, well, obviously affected me in other areas as well, and throwing, and hitting and sprinting in the outfield as well, with that. But essentially, if you think about, if you like do a squat jump, like when you're right about the jump, when your legs are fully extended, like that would sometimes twinge, or like just that first step would sometimes like twinge, and it'd go from a 10 in pain. Like, I not exaggerating, like I would mind-numbing amount of pain to gone within like the next half second, and then like it wouldn't reappear with that. And what I started to notice when I was walking around is that my right kneecap, when you have your leg relaxed and you move it around, it was kind of clicking and grinding stuff a lot more than my left knee, and I started to notice that it would click when I walk up the stairs, and I'm like, it's, seems not good. Obviously you get on Google, you start looking up all the stuff that is there, you try to figure out what's wrong and all that stuff. And this whole time I'm training like a maniac, not only doing all the stuff for the team, but doing stuff on the side on my own, because the team was not giving me the amount of training that I needed as far as the specificity for the baseball stuff. The lifting stuff they had plenty, but not enough like explosive training or throwing specific training with that, and mechanic work with it, because they had the really idiotic idea that if you run miles and miles and miles, that will somehow make you a more explosive athlete. I knew at that time that wasn't reality, so I supplemented that stuff, and all the miles and miles and miles of running, I'm sure, were not helpful on my knee at all. It's something that I do not plan on ever really doing again, since if I start running a lot consistently, like just cardio-wise, not just sprints, but like distance running, then my knees just start just get real achy real quick with that. But I basically got to that point, I was in the fall, where it was just twinging all the time, and I would say all the time, but random. So it was unpredictable, but like when it happened, it was extreme, as far as that brief moment of pain with it. Plus, I'm wasting all my time at practice, and just hating every minute of it, not liking the people I'm around because they're not hard-working people. So I decided to quit the baseball team at that point, and it was simultaneously to stop playing as well as to get my knee scoped with it. And what I could have done is I could have redshirted for a year and then came back the next year, but I really just I hated being part of the team at the school. And I just hated being part of that atmosphere with it. I really enjoyed throwing still at that point, and for about a year after that, I continuously threw, and that's when I hit my peak as far as like 88 miles an hour in throwing, and that was post-surgery, all that, and that was still with less than stellar training protocols as far as lifting stuff, since I was just doing all the lifting stuff on my own with it. I have a good feeling now that if I had the training mentality that I have now, or at least the training protocols that I have now, with the work ethic that I had as far as my throwing stuff, that I would have been a lot better at the act of throwing with it, or if I at least had my level of maturity as far as my brain goes, that I would be a lot better at training as far as throwing goes. But really, I don't have there's no benefit for me to ever really get back into throwing, and there's only risk of me just tearing my elbow or doing something to my shoulder, and without any real benefit. There's no way that I would be a major league athlete, or anything like that. It would just be for my own pleasure of throwing, which I get enough out of if I just play catch every once in a while, and even then I'm not begging people to have that. But I digress, and that was a big digression. But after that time, once I stopped playing, I continuously threw. I was obsessive about it because I had no reason to be throwing. I was not on the team. Once I was throwing on my own, I realized that I enjoyed that more than I enjoyed being on any organized team or pitching in games or any of that. It was just for the pure act of self-improvement at that time, and I was the only one doing that. Obviously, no normal person just goes and throws for by themselves for any of that. with it, and I still recorded all my stuff and tried to get better. I was experimenting with weighted balls and long toss and all that stuff, and I would get up early and throw. I would get into the gym late and throw because we had the field house, so I had space to do all that. So I was obsessive about it, and I was getting into lifting more since amazingly I had like so much just a ton more time. So I was able to get all my schoolwork done and had a ton of time to train. I was not a social butterfly. I did not go to parties or anything, so I had plenty of time to do whatever I wanted, essentially, and lots of good hours in the fitness facility at my university with it. But then after a while, it hit me after like a year where I just like woke up one day, and it really feels like it was just one day, but I feel like it was probably more of a gradual process where I woke up and I'm like, why am I even throwing? I'm not going anywhere with this, because I realized I didn't ever want to pitch on like a team and like competitively pitch. I just wanted to improve at the act of throwing. And I was like, why don't I just focus on lifting and just lift? And that was a big realization in myself. And I was just like, I just need to focus on just lifting with that. And that was about the time where I started powerlifting. I got into Brandon Campbell's PRS program, and I just obsessively lifted all the time. I did his program in its entirety, made some progress. I think the only one I progressed in squat and deadlift, but not in the bench. My bench stayed the same with that, but it's really just, it's turned into an obsession with that, because then you start recording. I started doing the YouTube thing because I wanted to have a little bit of base of strength before I started recording stuff for YouTube with it. But I started recording myself and looking at it the same way I looked at my baseball stuff, and I just obsessively looking at my form and trying to get better and better and better with it, and just becoming more obsessed with it. I mean, I think about lifting stuff all the time with it, and I even sit here now and I realize I'm never going to be the strongest person. I'm not going to be an Olympic athlete in powerlifting if that was made a sport, or in weightlifting with it. I am doing the act of lifting, of powerlifting or weightlifting or whatever, for the pure act of self-improvement, and for staying healthy, obviously, but just for the joy of being obsessed with something. I love being obsessed with something. It's something that in the end of the day it's not going to matter, but it's something that it's fun to be passionate about. It's something that is fun to connect and talk to other people about and think about all the scientific things and the biomechanics and training protocols and all the different things that go into that. But when I think, well, at the end of the day, like, nobody cares how much you squatted, nobody cares how much you benched or you snatched or anything like that, unless you're like the number one person ever with that. And that's always changing because people are always getting stronger, and for whatever reason that is with it. But what I've found is that that doesn't so much matter to me, is that as long as I have something in my life that I can just think about all the time and try to improve all the time. And for me now, obviously the lifting stuff is a huge part, but the teaching stuff, being a teacher and trying to get better at that, and trying not to feel like I'm an idiot at that, and being good at my job, as well as being good at the YouTube stuff and trying new things. I feel like every other video I'm like, I'm gonna try this and a new schedule, and it's all an experiment and seeing what works best as far as the analytics of it all, and what works best for me and what makes the best video, and trying to tweak and try different things all the time with YouTube and with lifting and with school and all of that, and I try to take that mentality wherever I go. Living out loud, get rid of the past.